Today's the first time I ever actually read the warning when you hit the broadcast button. It gives a little thing, and I usually just click OK. It says Google Hangouts will now broadcast. You can broadcast for up to 8 hours. What are you doing for 8 hours on Google Hangouts? That is my question as you enter into the mind of madness. I like that segue in. All right, guys. It's another day. We're front loading this week's episodes. Usually I do them a little mid to late week, but it's going to be early midweek this week because I got some stuff to do this weekend. Part of which will be included in today's episode, as a matter of fact. So that is what it is. All right, updates. Played a little Street Fighter V this weekend. Changed from Guile to Sakura, or however you say it, and actually pulled myself solidly into Ultra Bronze. So still not doing great, but having some fun. Doing okay with the character. Although I do feel like it's one of those situations where a lot of people still don't know how to move around her because I found out she's part of the Season 3 pass. And but another video game news, I've been playing Final Fantasy 3, also known as Final Fantasy 6, depending on what region you're from, is how it was released. Or if you got like the remake on the PlayStation 1, it was listed as Final Fantasy 6. Whereas if you got it on the Super Nintendo in North America, it was listed as Final Fantasy 3. Long story short, I finally started playing that game. It's been a long, I finished Final Fantasy 2/4 back in the day, but I never did finish Final Fantasy 3/6. So I'm getting around to that finally. It's been okay so far. It's got that whole early game movement slog that you have to remind yourself of from the classic Nintendo, Super Nintendo era Final Fantasy style JRPG games. So it's taking a little bit of getting back into that kind of flow, but I'm back in and I'm kind of enjoying myself. Every character feels overpowered, that's for sure. But there's nothing wrong with that in the end. And most importantly it's been enjoyable. So what else is up? I am a little worn out because I've been playing said Final Fantasy game on my Super Nintendo Classic while I work out. One of the things I've done is I've set up an exercise bike in front of my TV. So I watch TV while my exercise bike at night for a little bit, or I'll play video game for my exercise bike. And one of the most dangerous types of games to play while you're on an exercise bike is definitely a JRPG, because they are lengthy games and you lose yourself in them and you go and you go and you go, and all of a sudden you're worn out. You're wondering why your legs are jello, and it's because you just spent 2 hours in menus having a ton of fun. It takes a certain type of person to enjoy that kind of thing, and not everybody does, but I am one of those weirdos, so deal with it. It's why I enjoy having a show where you guys watch me go through HC Realms, which is just nothing more than a gigantic menu. All right. So a couple things that come up in my world of Heroclix. One, I don't know if you guys watch this week's Mental Lab, but I'm super excited for pro wrestling to be a thing. I'm actually in the middle. I'm almost done an article for Patrick on Majestics, which should be part of the free site on my predictions, though most of them are probably spoiled at this point. But we've got Days of Future Past around the corner for me. In addition to which, we've just had the announcement of the fall WKOs. And what's the best news from the fall WKOs is that we have dates for two of them, one constructed, one sealed, both of them within a week of each other. The first one on the 3rd of November, woohoo, and the second one on the 7th of November, or the 10th of November, a week later. The one on the 3rd is going to be at Whitby Comic Book Addiction, and the one on the 10th is going to be at 401 Games in Toronto. There's also one planned for Elmsvale Jackson Queen. I'm considering going there, though it will depend on whether or not our good friend Aiden is planning on making that trip, because he's generally our ride to that event. So that will be here or there. So there's a lot coming up to plan around. And of course, we're still thinking about the ROC Canada Cup this week. Today, we're going to have a little bit of fun, though. And as Mr. Graves points out, yes, Roman Reigns will probably be OPAF. Because, I mean, he can take Braun Strowman, and Braun Strowman can flip an elephant, an ambulance. He could probably flip an elephant, too, if Vince McMahon could get his hands on an elephant and not tick off everybody in Hollywood right now, because apparently that's one of the big crusades. not a bad crusade. It's just one of the crusades. There's a lot of people saying get the elephants free. Okay, well, pretty soon the zoos are going to be empty, and we're not going to have the live animals for kids to watch. That's a other thing. I'm totally off, but yes, Roman Reigns should be pretty overpowered. But let's talk about a couple things, and the most important of which, or the most forthcoming of which, is going to be the Days of Future Past month 2. Now, I got to be as polite about this as I possibly can. This is not a favorite particular thing that our store likes to run, but it's something we have to tolerate because they have a lot of gravity feeds. So this month, it is a 400-point modern. So like last month it was 300. This month it'll be 400. Same idea. We got to bring at minimum 100 minus. So we're going to be bringing 300-point teams. Then we have to buy 6 gravity feeds of our choice and use at least 100 points from our gravity feeds to build our team. That silence is me trying to be polite about this format. I understand the reasons why, and I do want to support my stores in any way, shape, or form, but a certain level of responsibility has to be taken. All right, so there is a alternative I can take that doesn't frustrate me in having to buy this. Me and Amber and myself, we didn't get a Thor Ragnarok gravity feed from WizKids, and wouldn't you know it, we forgot to buy the set. Amber, did you know we forgot to buy Thor Ragnarok?
We forgot to buy Thor Ragnarok?
We forgot to buy Thor Ragnarok. Who forgets to buy a set? This guy right here. Actually, I'm pretty sure we meant to buy the set we were supposed to buy the set that weekend. We ended up not getting a babysitter. We ended up not going to our store, and we ended up forgetting completely to get it. And lum-de-dum, that happened. So what do we do in this case? Well, I guess now's a good time to get our Thor Ragnarok stuff. Right, my Amber?
Yup.
So Thor Ragnarok, what do we have in this set? So ultimately, I've made the decision. I'm going to buy some Thor Ragnarok. Now, I have to bring 300 points that are going to work with the Thor Ragnarok set. And I think it should be reasonable to expect that at least one or another keyword should be solid in the set. We all know what they are. But I'm going to bring it up anyway because I like to share my madness, but I want people to understand my madness too. So we have the Thor Ragnarok movie set. We start with the common Thor. He's got Asgardian Avengers Warrior. We have Loki, who's got Asgardian Mystical. We've got Hulk, who's got Avengers Brute Monster Warrior. Heimdall's got Asgardian Warrior. Valkyrie's got Asgardian Warrior. You're going to start to see a theme here. Asgardian Avengers Warrior for Thor. Asgardian for Mystical. Hulk's got Avengers Brute Monster Warrior. Heimdall's got Asgardian. Grandmaster has Cosmic Elders of the Universe Ruler. Odin's got Asgardian Ruler Warrior. Valkyrie's got Asgardian Warrior. Grandmaster has Cosmic Elders of the Universe Ruler. Odin has Asgardian Ruler. This is 125.1. I don't know which was mass market and which wasn't in the set. Was there mass market for the set? Amber, thumbs up, thumbs down?
I don't remember.
All right. And then there's the Fenris, Animal Asgardian, Hela Asgardian, Deity Warrior, or Ruler. All right. So, and then she makes Wall of Fallen Warriors. They're pretty neat. So long and the short of it, Asgardian's pretty safe one to go with, or Avengers. So what do we? This is first thought. First thought is Amber and I will buy some Thor Ragnarok and bulk up our collection because we absolutely lack that set in its entirety. So I kind of want to build an Asgardian theme team, shall I? Let's do this. Advanced search, modern age. Keyword is Asgardian. Asgardian. Geez, you know it's funny. I often forget how character sorting goes in computers, and I work in them. All right, so we have that Loki, not going to happen, and that Thor. That's the quick start kit Thor. Avengers Infinity provides us with 2 Thors, 1 Chase, and 1 rare common. Uncommon. What is it? What is Avengers Infinity? It's a common. That's a common. That's a lot of commons in Avengers Infinity. Is that right? Oh, no, that would be a rare, wouldn't it? Because Avengers Infinity was a small main set. Yeah, so, okay. I derped a second. So let's go back to our advanced search. Let's go back to modern. Oh, I messed that up. Sorry, guys. Womp womp. It's the Giants. The Giants Colossals through the whole thing.
Yeah.
All right. So those are considerations. We also have to figure out what's wrong with the focus. And Amber's volume on her Pokemon Go. Looks like the Mighty Thor set has a couple as Guardians.
Just a couple?
Just a couple. Just a couple. Now, there are some limitations on this. So let's get to those. Let's get those limitations right now. And that's going to be... No figures bigger than a peanut base. No resources, equipment, or ID cards. I believe there is the idea that if the character comes with the equipment, that was allowed.
Yeah,
I don't know. They got to stop. That's what happens when I stop judging. People started caring about silly things. Now, what are my options here? My options are play hard, beat the format up, and just be done with my day. The prize is Rachel Summers, right? Where do I stand on my desire for a Rachel Summers? My stance is in the middle. Like, I kind of want it, but I don't. Here's the problem I've run into. Is the Tri-Sentinel's based on you can use a weapon if a character comes with it. There it is. Okay. The Tri-Sentinel is based on progress with the entire tournament. I kind of went half keister in on the first month and ended up winning on a fairly fluky win on that case. Because the two guys who were above me, like there was 2 games at 2-0 running, like, and then we got into a third round and I was split up from them, and then I was playing another game against another 2-0, and then I ended up winning all points because my opponent had to leave before the game was over, which means he conceded and gave me all his points. And in the other game, not all points were scored. In fact, it was a very low score, and as a result, even though I was only going into the round about 10 to 15 points, 20 points behind, if there was a sweep in that final round, I would have been second place, and instead they were in second place, and I ended up winning that. So it was fluke and just matchups. Like, my matchups were all in my favor for that. So, but then there begs the question: how hard am I going to try now? Like, I've got the first win, and now do I have to turn on the flames and turn on the fire and attempt to get my Tri-Sentinel, or am I content to just kind of coast at this point and buy a Tri-Sentinel when it becomes retail? Those are the questions I'm asking myself right now. They're pretty dumb questions, I know. They're not fun questions I have to ask myself. All right. But there's a couple things I can do here that will secure, like almost guaranteed secure my theme team in this event. I could go as Guardian Avengers and just bring a bunch of Asgardians who are also Avengers. Most of them will be named Thor. I could do that. Or I could bring a bunch of Avengers and hope that I pull a Thor and a Hulk. The problem is a lot of these characters for particularly high points. Or I could do what a lot of guys did last month and just bring a super powerful cosmic 300-point cosmic team without any resources or equipment or stuff like that. And, you know, I think enough of that set had Cosmic before we do that, before I overcommit to that. I don't think enough of it did have Cosmic, so I should probably not jump the gun on that one. Either way, that's kind of where I stand right now. So I guess you know what? The way I look at it, I was coasting month 1. I should coast this month too. But I should also try to have some fun. And Mr. Graves has drawn my attention once again to a man I like playing, and nobody likes me playing. And that is Thor Odin's son. This is the title Thor. This is a story of a Thor who was 175 points and had a really good. I'm going to stop singing. All right, he's 175 points. He is a what you see is what you get dial as far as powers are concerned, and that's to be expected from a title character. He is indomitable, and he is beefy. Oh, so much beef on this guy. He brings the pain, and he's got title character abilities. Man, I really hate when they get formatted like this. So, he's got a 1-turn friendly characters can't move or make attacks during your next turn if he gets KO'd, so let's not get him KO'd. He's got Bring the Lightning, which is his +1. When Thor Odinson targets and hits a single opposing character with a range attack this turn, after resolutions, once per turn, he may make a range attack targeting a different opposing character. Then his -1, Restore the Lost Asgardians. Place adjacent another friendly character with Asgardian keyword. If you do, heal both Thor Odinson and that character 1 click. And then his -8, God of Thunder. For the rest of the game, as long as Thor Odinson is on the map, when an opposing character would get an action token, it gets 2 action tokens instead. So starting points, 3 points, and this guy is super effective with a couple characters. So we're going to start with Thor Odinson. He's 175 points. And B.A. McCooey wants me to use the captain from What If. I'm probably going to deny you that one because I think he's too many points for what I want to do. But are we talking about Captain America here, 100 points? Or are you referring to the captain who is the LE and not actually Asgardian? From an alternate Earth, Captain America can use energy shield and range combat expert as a trait, intimidate increase. You see, while I like that, I like another Captain America better. And that is the common from the Mighty Thor set. It's 55 points. And what does this Captain America bring to the table? He brings Flurry, Charge, Plasticity. And I'm sticking to the Asgardian Avengers. So don't you worry about that. And you'll see here that the idea is Thor Odinson goes in hypersonics aggressively. Like hypersonic, a shoot from 4, hypersonic all 11 movement, whatever. That's fine. And then Captain America gets called over and then flurries with an 11 attack blades with plasticity as well. Overall, just really cool effect. And what's more is if Captain America doesn't do so well, and I go and attack with Thor again, and then -1, heal the Captain America and maybe even get him into a better position, better click, whatever. So that's worth mentioning as well. But then that leaves us with 70 points with which to build this Asgardian team off of. Part of me was considering Miss Jane Foster at 30 points. She's also an Asgardian Avenger, and she brings support to the table with a 15 defense with Defend and Indomitable. So she can support the heck out of things. And yeah, so we consider that, and then we'll end up having 40 points left over. So it's a matter of how do I spend 40 points on Asgardians. That one's a little bit more of a much larger ask. Unfortunately, Eric Masterson does not seem to be falling into the category of available. So that is a shame, but not a terrible, terrible shame. It's a shame that Throg is only a pet Avenger and 5 points too many. I could double up on the Jane Foster, but that would be crazy talk. What do you mean I'm talking crazy? Of course I'm talking crazy. That's all I do. We have 45-point Valkyrie. Still not what I want. Sif. Wow, like when you're down to 4, Surtur's not an option, unfortunately, Braden, because you cannot use anything bigger than a peanut base, and those are both 2x2 bases. That was a limitation of the format, unfortunately. There's rock trolls or some kind of troll, right? Yeah, they're 25 points. They're 5 clicks, 18 defense. They're Asgardian brutes. I mean, I have a feeling these last 40 points might end up having to be shifted out of the team anyway because of the point costing in the Thor Ragnarok set. That does remain to be seen. We'll Well, okay, let's not give up on this set yet. Thordis will probably... What is this? It's got to be Mighty Thor, number 17 Thor on a click number equal. Okay, so I should probably not be thinking about that. We have a 50-point Thor. It's a little not quite where we want it. Kind of backed myself into a corner on this 40 points, haven't I? All right, well, Avengers Infinity, Thor. Sorry, I just created a bunch of dead air, didn't I? I apologize for that. Balder, Throg, Hogan's lowest is 60 or 90. Ugh. Lorelai's 45. Of course she is. I got this 5-point disparity that the keyword is just not going to let me work around, is it? What are the... Oh! Why is the starter set Hulk not an Asgardian? Is that too much to ask? Come on. Or is also this Hulk? This Hulk is beautiful. Sorry, you guys are going to watch me click through this because, unfortunately, limitations of the format disallow me to work the way I want it to. All right. So let's back this up a second. If I drop Jane Foster, how many points do I have left over? I have 70 points. Is 70 a little bit more workable? We have to ask ourselves. And I don't think it actually is workable as I'd like it to be either. Lady Thor, Masterson Thor, Warrior Souls. Here we go. What's a Warrior of Asgard? Found my 40 points. There he is. Warrior of Asgard. Thank you. So go Jane Foster. Warrior of Asgard. We keep our Asgardian theme. We don't have the Asgardian / Avengers, but we can regain it by dropping the Warrior of Asgard, depending on what we pull in our Ragnarok packs. Now, we do have to kind of be careful with this. So it's a minimum of 100 points, but the format allows us to jank around our stuff, like shift it around. So if I'm keeping in these keywords, we go to the Thor movie set. The Thor is 75, Loki's 70, Heimdall's 60. So Heimdall is probably an ideal want. Valkyrie is 75. Now, there's a reason, and it's mathing. Now, obviously, 100-point Thor, I'd probably play it. Or I believe there's also, there's a 70-point Loki. Also a reasonable grab. There is this small point Odin to help fill up some points, which could go a long way. There's a 50-point Valkyrie who's not too shabby. This Odin is out of the question. And I'm not sure about the Fenris. I believe the Fenris Wolf is pullable in this, so not a bad option if I get the Odin and there's the Hela. Now, the reason I'm worried about the point differentials is that we're at 300 points, but if you look at what we could be pulling in this set, hey Nolan, I don't know if you caught up with us, but we're working on a format, and it's a little weird. I'm working off of 6 gravity feeds to add to 300 points, minimum of 100 points from. So this is kind of the exercise we're playing. Now, Odin's trait costs an extra 25, so if I happen to pull the Loki, I might be in okay shape. But as we go through the set, you'll see we have Thor at 75, Loki at 70, Hulk at 75, Heimdall 60, Valkyrie 75. We got 100 Thor, another 70, 2 different Lokis, both at 70, both the same pose, both different dials. Okay, cool. There's a Hulk at 100. It's this differential really causes the concern I have, where it's like, am I going to get an even 100 points, or am I going to have to shift something off the team? Is it something I shift off the team going to take the place of this guy? Is the most expendable on my team. It's the Warrior of Asgard. He can go any day, anytime, no problem. And if I can maintain, my Asgardian theme, thank you, with the possibility of Heimdall, he would be a really cool call-in or call over rather with the Thor Odin's son once I'm done bringing Captain America over. Like Thor Odin's son becomes a very aggressive TK that like is super across the board. So I'm not too worried about my team getting there because they'll be there. They'll be there when they need to be there. Not worried in the least. So I have that to look forward to. What's more is if I'm really worried, I see my opponent has a particularly slow-paced team, I can take a couple clicks and then heal my Thor with the Jane Foster while +1ing and not doing anything with it. If I so happen to choose. That's just an option. I don't necessarily have to exercise that option. And yeah, so that's probably what I'm going to play. It's a weird format. It's super, super wacky. I'm not a fan of it for my own personal reasons, but I have to work around it. The business has to do what it wants to do, and I'm just going to kind of say, all right, you say jump, I say how high and in which direction. So that's the format. That's what I'm going to play for my month 2 Days of Future Past. So once again, it's going to be Thor Odin's son, the common Captain America, both from Thor Mighty. Actually, the entire team is from the Mighty Thor. Jane Foster and the Warrior of Asgard. As far as Jane Foster's sideline, of course, I'm going to have the sideline character, which I think actually I'm allowed to build with after the fact. I'm not 100% sure. Might do something stupid like bring like last time we later said, yeah, you could bring a sideline and that sideline could be super friends, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to do that. That's more to carry than I want to, and I'm already going to be carrying home 12 Thor Ragnarok figures. Yeah, we see the problem in that, right? All right. So with that said, let's talk Popper team next. Okay, let's talk Popper. So this conversation has once again reared its ugly head. I am an advocate for it, but I don't. I've talked about it at length, so let's talk about it and let's keep it off of the Metal Lab because I think the guys on the show are tired of the conversation. We've run the events; they're fun events. They're not bad. There's almost no con. It's a negligible con, like bad side to this kind of format. So we'll have the discussion and then we'll lead into that. So we're not at the level that Magic the Gathering is about the quote unquote Popper format. And what the Popper format in Magic the Gathering is, for those of you unfamiliar, a Popper is a polite word for a poor person. And the Popper format is an all common cheapo format in which you can take, which in Magic the Gathering, any card that has been printed as a common card is legal for this format. Now, where it gets a little murky, on things is that in Magic the Gathering, reprints happen and rarity shifting happens. Now, it's never anything in Heroclix that's necessarily a problem because reprinting is not a thing, right, Amber? Like, there's one set that had any reprints back in the day. That was Explosion. Not even Explosion. Universe, which was a mixture of Infinity Challenge and Explosion. That was the only time reprints ever occurred in Heroclix, and that was it. Just once. That said, the Popper format is all commons, and it's a really good format. It's really interesting. Now, I'm an advocate for it being modern because things have happened in the past, and they really just kind of muddy the format. Such things as, like, you start to go Golden Age with it. There's a 300-point common Superman. Then the next thing you have to do is go back and format, go back in the day, and then tell me what all the rarities in Infinity Challenge are. If your head exploded, that's fine because my head exploded and I was there. We didn't know we didn't know the rarities. We knew 2 rarities. We knew like 4 rarities, and even 3 of them weren't rarities, but character levels. And the character levels were Rookie, Experienced, Veteran, and it was Uniques. If we were to do like the Popper format back then, it would be like Rookies Only tournaments. And you could still break the game with Rookies Only because some rookies were actually considered rare. right? It's don't ask anyway. So I do advocate for it being a modern format, but I also advocate for it being modern commons and fast force / starter set figures only. Basically, I want every figure that's being played to be easily obtained. Now, unfortunately, when I ran a tournament, Trinity Wars fast forces were a very popular thing, and as a result, that allowed Atomica to be legal, but she didn't win. So minor note. What ended up winning in the tournament, this was back when Nick Fury Nick Fury Age of the Shield was the big set. Like, it was one set after, I think, had been released, but the prize for this was a brick of Nick Fury. And the team that won was the 150 point from Invincible Iron Man Thor with a mixture of different Avengers Assemble Fast Forces characters to go with it. Generally, it was Iron Man does a ton of damage, ignores the math. Wow. Okay. But that was the format at the time, and that was available at the format. So that was cool. Anyway, the format has to be modern, in my opinion. And, by making it all common figures and fast forces only, you don't have to say no resources, because resources aren't common. I don't have to say no equipment, because if there is common equipment, you can use it. Right? Because it's already not being used. Now, the big pro of this this format is that everybody who's off in the rafters over there screaming, Heroclix is pay to win, shuts their mouth and shows up for the tournament, or shuts their mouth forever, because I don't want to hear from you. If you're not going to show up for a proper or all common / fast force / starter figures only tournament, you are just in the peanut gallery. That's where you belong. I don't want to hear from you. Right? You're just talking. You are just noise. I've got like 3 different drinks on the go here. It's ridiculous. I got a Red Bull to keep me awake. I got water here to hydrate with, and I cracked open a Rattler. What is wrong with me? Amber?
Everything.
Amber's response is everything. She's not wrong. All right. So now that I've said that, one of our goals as a channel and part of our Patreon is that it's a goal of ours to kind of have something similar to the ROC, similar to WKOs, but that is run on this format. You could almost run them parallel as side events to these things. And if you actually, I'm going to pull it up and see if it's still our current goal right now. It's patreon.com/madewithclicks if you want to join in. And, I did this a while ago. We also just recently got a new patron, and I want to thank that particular player for bringing us a little closer to this particular goal. Where is it? There it is. Okay. So we are looking to create a tournament league. Now, the reason I haven't done this right off of the bat, so we're looking for $200 per month at our patron. That allows us to take a little time and run this thing, be it manually or create some kind of automation for it. The challenge we run into, of course, right now, I have a full-time job, and Amber has a very, busy schedule. We have no incentive in which to do this. We also have we're running even right now on everything. The channel runs at a very even level as far as, where the money coming in goes back into the channel. As far as our patron action tokens, our what's the word I'm looking for? Our subscription to Adobe and other various things, such as little bonuses that I can get to the Metal Lab guys occasionally. I don't get them as frequently as I would like to, but I do give them an occasional bonus for doing the show. It's not a lot. It's a little bit. Any little bit is, I'm sure, appreciated by them because it's real money, right? So that's where that patron money goes. So we do need a little bit on top of what we get in order to kind of incentivize us and to give us a little bit of financial backing to justify the time and the pricing, because we want to get pricing for this, right? our idea is that we don't want to charge, like kind of like where the ROC says we're going to provide you the pricing for this event. We don't want to necessarily do that, but we do want to incentivize stores on participation and then kind of bulk up pricing from there. Again, it's one of those things where it's like we want to incentivize the players for running the format and then start creating pricing for and rewarding stores based on their participation. And then stores will get better pricing from there, provided by us. We want there to be little to no financial damage to the store. We want stores to just run these tournaments as though it's one of their weeklies, offer one of their prizes as they usually do, and do that. Anyway, you're going to hear 1,000 tangents on my Pauper format thing anyway. But at the same time, this is why I've been idealizing this. I have tested the format, run the format several times. I've made decent, and when the pricing is big enough, people get competitive enough for it, and that's part of the challenge. Is that so? Anyway, what would we do with the format? You say? Well, let's see what we can do in the format. It's an interesting thing to work around. So. When you limit it to mono only, rarity is common. Hopefully this works as far as this gets a little wacky. The filtering on this. So hopefully it kind of goes okay and works out. But it looks like WizKids or HCRMs is doing it. A common. Let's do it. Common with fast forces is pretty interesting right now, in my opinion. Like, yeah, okay. So when we did this the first time, the biggest time we ran it, like I said, Iron Man was a thing. But right now, a lot of things can happen with the format. So what we have to do is we have to ignore anything above a common, which is very difficult if you've been playing in competitive for a while and you've been building in competitive for a while. But you start to see certain things will stand out. Now, for instance, the Undead is almost a write-off set. But Dr. Frankenstein is still a common from the set. So it's not a complete write-off when you consider Dr. Frankenstein is a monster and jumps into that. Now, you do have a bunch of Ninja Turtles. And when you include the Fast Forces, this is where I get like, oh my gosh, do I include Fast Forces? The Ninja Turtles Unplugged starter set, which for some reason isn't here right now, has these Ninja Turtles that come back to life. So anyway, let's go back to what we were talking about at first, and we'll look at the common rarity, and then we'll look at Fast Force rarity, etc. So at the common level, and what you want to think about when you're doing this is what would normally be a problem for that figure, and think about them as whether or not they're actually still a threat for that figure. They might just be gone now, right? So things like the Unplugged Ninja Turtles, they're okay at best. The Shredder illusion gets interesting, but at the same time is disincentivized because there's not a lot of common Shredders. In fact, I don't think there's any characters named Shredder that are common, except for the Unplugged. Like the TMNT4 Fast Forces becomes really good in this format in the current environment. I want to mention that right now. Anyway, Star Trek it's got a bunch of really good support characters. And, anytime you think of these really cool support characters, you think, well, what's going to kill them that is higher than a common, and what's going to kill them at common? And that becomes your challenge thinking. Now, I haven't been thinking in this format for a period of time, as I have been vastly distracted in my life. But I'm already starting to see, like, I haven't even gotten to Marvel yet, and I'm already, like, seeing a bunch of things. Now, in this format, we can't include primes. I do not allow primes. I do have to stipulate when I make this event non-prime commons, because primes become the pay-to-win thing in people's minds, and I don't want the argument. I want this format free of the argument of pay-to-win. And even Magic the Gathering's Pauper format, I play in the Pauper format in Magic occasionally, and I do have a fairly pricey Pauper deck. Thank you, Affinity. Ugh. Mana bases sometimes. Anyway. So we get in here. There's a couple figures that stand out. This Moondragon is pretty good. Visions are tougher in this format. There's not as much stealth busting in the common form right now. Gravity Feed. Well, you see, because we're not playing Golden Age, Andrew Jackson, Gravity Feed is a non-issue for the most part. We're not gonna consider Pauper Golden Age because of the complications that get involved with that. And I do believe modern Pauper is the way to go in the format. If anybody wants to, say otherwise, you're free too. Anyway, and then, things like the X students become really cool support. Moira McTaggart. Okay, now here's one of the complications that I hadn't taken into effect. And that's the idea of the ID card, because there are some common ID cards, if I remember correctly. Now, it would require me to actually take a look at the stamping on them. And I believe, so there's X students will all be common stamped. So if I'm thinking about it and actually taking it into consideration and doing all the work for it, we have to look at the figures that are actually available as part of this, okay? So we look here, Sprite. I think all of these, as far Kitty Pryde is the other identity. So Sprite or Kitty Pryde. I don't think there's a common Kitty Pryde right now, and Sprite is rare. Artie, I believe, is a common or an uncommon. Let's check. Artie is common. Okay, so Artie could be a usable ID card, but he's not super powerful. So I'm gonna put him as a eh. I believe Leech is an uncommon. Leech is uncommon, so really not a big deal. Rusty and Skids, I think, are both common and fast forces, so they will be considerations. And like, if I was to build the format, I'd say go for it. Personally, sure, whatever, man. But that's me, because when we get down to it, once we pass Rusty and Skids, all new Wolverine, rare. Brew, rare. Gold Balls, rare. Prodigy, I believe, is a common. I got the thing here, so no, I think Prodigy's even rare. Yeah, he's a rare. Cool. Chamber is rare. Husk is rare. Jubilee is common. Nope, uncommon. There we go. So you see what's happening here. Jubilee, M is rare. Skin is uncommon, I believe. Skin is uncommon. Sync is common, I think. It's a common one. I got mixed. Yep, Sync is a common. Okay, so we're up to like 4 usable ID cards right now. And that's it. After that, we're into the rares. So Wonder Woman Gravity Feed, does that have rarities attached to it? If not, I mean, I think they're all common stamped. If they're all white stamped, I'd be cool with that. Yeah, that's right. Building a format, 1 minute. Look at that. There's 3 rares in the set. Raven, Steve Trevor, sure, go for it. Wonder Woman Gravity Feed, you got Wonder Woman, Starfire, Queen Hippolyta, the Cheetah, Flash, the Amazon, another Cheetah, and another Flash. That's all you can use from the Gravity Feed. So go for it. That'll be legal. That's modern, right? And when a lot of the times when you ask these questions, they kind of answer themselves. Is this a problem? Is this a problem? There's 4 usable Xavier School ID cards in the format, in the form of Artie, Leech, Rusty, Skids. That's it. Everything else doesn't have a common figure you can use as part of the format. So, we go back to our advanced search, and we start to consider. So, Moira McTaggart, go for it, guys. Modern Age, back to common. Nope, not keyword. We want rarity. Rarity is common. Yeah, it's the build a format day today, guys. This is what happens in my brain. And this is actually, like I said, this has been a thing I've been considering a whole lot. And reason I'm kind of pointing out a lot of these things is that it's a format that solves itself by being itself, right?
you can let those 4 ID cards that you can use into the format and not have major problems. Rusty and Skids are probably the best ones. Artie's okay at finest, and they're all student IDs, which means they're not bringing in inspirations. They're 3 points or free because you managed to bring in a Moira McTaggart. Moira McTaggart is really useful with the X-Men that we have, who are super synergistic with each other, but also super squishy. And that all kind of does its own thing. The Thor Ragnarok movie set adds a bunch of things to it. Mighty Thor has a lot of cool stuff. There's even commons that make figures in Valkyrie. Like, that's pretty cool. You can get some bystander effects off. And then, we go further down. We have the Fast Force Phantom X. He might actually even rule the format. Who knows? There's some really cool stuff in the Spider-Man Fast Forces. Superior Foes of Spider-Man has some really cool common stuff. Civil War might actually see some love, but it would have to go back for some reconsideration, and the erratas on what is rare and what isn't rare in that set would have to be addressed. We're past these. These are not from sets that are currently actually modern. Batman the Animated Series has probably one of the best pools of commons I've ever seen in my life. If you mind control an opposing character to attack yourself, can you activate Colossal Retaliation on them? I mean, how? If you can pull that off somehow, I don't see why not. Although, yeah, no, I don't see why not. You do have to do damage with the attack in order to have the Colossal Retaliation do a thing. Fast Force Gotham City, or Harley Quinn and the Gotham Girls, sorry. Whoa, what happened? What happened to my brain here? That's just all up for consideration. Harley Quinn and the Gotham Girls has really good support stuff in the common slot. And what is this Wonder Woman? The JSA. Oh my gosh, the JSA from Joker's Wild. What do we have in here? The Thanagarian still sucks in this format. Sorry, guys. Well, we have this Green Arrow with the JSA. Wildcat, cool JSA dude. Batman versus Superman is not legal in modern. So, you know what? This is a super strategic format. Like, now that I've actually had some time to take it all in and really look at it. Now, Cable and Batman Beyond are really strong in the format, but I don't feel like they necessarily have all the unanswerable answers. They can be dealt with and can be managed. They're going to be tough. You're right. They're probably going to be super strong. So maybe have it. I think the Mystic, because it triggers after the action resolves, the character is no longer yours after you resolve the action on Mystics. So I don't think it's friendly enough to you anymore when it takes the Mystic's damage. Where were we? Oh, dude, this Poison Ivy would be really cool as well. Yeah, now that I think about it, the Fast Forces Poison Ivy would be the thing that would be the nightmare for well, I mean, you could use regular objects and still strong tanky figures in Cable and Batman Beyond. Yeah, okay. So Batman Beyond and Cable would have to be the things you consider in the format. They would. I'm not going to deny that they are going to stand out as beasts in the format. They are going to be very strong characters. And you will have to figure out ways to deal with them. For sure. Sorry, I'm kind of running at my pace here, so I apologize if this looks terrible. I'm going to go back to my face because it's probably better. But at the same time, there's going to be a lot of considerations you do have to take. Like, for instance, there's lots of common TKers, and that Fast Force Hulk or the starter set Hulk from Mighty Thor, we know what he does. And we've seen what he does, and that is potent stuff, right? Like, I think let's take a look at this and see if you can single target that same Cable. And I'm sorry, this just became the strategy episode for this, and I don't think I can come up with a build right off the top of my head right now, because I have to take the format in a little harder. But if you go at this dude here, what is his defense power? He can use invulnerability when he has less than 2 action tokens. You can use energy shield. Cool. Not a problem for our Hulk that we're looking to deal with. So if we deal 4 damage with the Hulk, we're only going to actually deal 2 with the invulnerable. 1, 2. So he's on his 18 defense click, which is proper running shot. So he's no longer stealthy. Something to consider. There is a retaliator in the Fast Force Giant Girl. That is absolutely correct. Because she is from a Fast Force, and I would totally allow that Giant Girl in the format. It makes perfect sense for me. There's another Colossal Retaliator in what's his name? Stiltman. So Avengers Infinity. Yeah, you got to look at it. A lot of people are saying, hey, this would be good, this would be good, this would be good. All these things, you're absolutely right, guys. Figures would get better in this format. Dark Deadpool would be a nightmare to deal with. Because he's got stealth, and then you can give him a free action to roll d6, and then place him any square within half the result. Oh, like so many cool things. I would start considering Chipmunk Hunk as a threat in this format. I said it. Like it would make some. I mean, let's look at the Fast Forces from the Avengers Defenders War. Look at these dials for 75 points. These are some toughies. When he's given a second action token, you may heal him 1 click. That is amazing. Iron Fist has got huge numbers. Iron Fists, I love Iron Fists. Oh, every time I say I'm allowed to use an Iron Fist in a format, I get excited. Oh, that's another thing. I had a really good Avengers Defenders War All Commons theme team. This is a set that's got a lot of synergy in itself. And this is an underrated Iron Man at 150 or at 55 points. I wonder how they reworded his. How did his regeneration get reworded? Because that only subtracts by 1 thing. It's now healing half the die. Errata some clarifications. Modern Age Errata. Avengers Defenders War. Where are you? Where are you? It's in here somewhere. Spirit Force of Spider-Man, Civil War, Heroes, Joker's Wild, page 2. Shredder's Return. I think I could have clicked on that. Now that I think about it. Iron Man, once per game regeneration, but increase the amount healed by 1. Oh! Yeah, the Rainbow Fast Force would actually turn out good. I did not see the end of Iron Fist Season 2. In fact, I'm only like 5 episodes in, so you're going to have to give me a little bit. But so far, a vast improvement on Season 1. That is for sure. Holy smokes. Talk about night and day. They listened. They listened to when they're getting dumped on. So, anyway, so am I an advocate for the Popper format? Yes. Do I think it should be a thing? Yes. Do I think more stores should support it? Yes. Will I support it? If we get enough time and money in order to work with it. I don't have that time. Amber is going to be the one who ends up doing all the work. So, love you. You should have seen the face she just gave, like, huh? The face would, the work would be recording results and whatnot. So, yeah, like you guys have a ton of great ideas as far as the Popper format for Heroclix is concerned. And like I said, I advocate for it. I do believe it should be a thing. I would love for WizKids to have a side event at Worlds that is the format. And if Howard Brock is listening, please make it a side event at ROC World Cup. I mean, there's enough space and time at the ROC World Cup in order to do these kinds of things. While you're running the main event at ROC World Cup, give a hoot and a holler to all the players who didn't necessarily qualify and hold that Popper tournament. I'm sure they'd love to play in that. People want a chance to play while they're at these events, and the more events you can be running, the more distracted they are and the less crowded top tables become. That's something I definitely advocate for. And, you know, looking away at Grand Prix is running Magic the Gathering. There's tons of things going on while the main tournament's going. Like, I've been to 2 Grand Prix recently, not once played in the main event. So, yeah. Nope, you would not be able to. Nothing in the format would be allowed to be not common. So, no, you wouldn't be able to sideline an uncommon Norman Osborn. There. I advocated. It's 10:30. All right. So you know what? Let's do the thing. Do we want to build an easy mode team, or do we want to build a Jason mode team for my Popper team? I'll take suggestions. I should actually, you know what I'll do? I will set up a what's the word I'm looking for? What is that thing? Straw poll. Straw poll. Straw poll. This one here. Boom. Straw poll. Jason mode or easy mode? Jason mode. Easy mode. No. Create poll. There we go. All right. Share. URL. Copy. In the chat. There's a straw poll. Use that straw poll. Say Jason mode or easy mode. And I will build a team based on that. And all you got to do is click one, hit vote, and you should be good to go. So 100% of the votes are currently mine. So throw it in there, guys. Oh, there's 2 votes now. 2 votes in. 2 votes in. It's unanimous. We got 3 votes in. There's 15 people watching. If you're watching live in the chat, I just put in a straw poll link. Use that straw poll link to tell me whether or not you want me to go easy mode or Jason mode on a common / fast force only team build. So commons and fast force only is what I'm going to be building with, and I'm gonna have it looks like unanimously so far everybody wants Jason mode. I mean, it was a pretty silly question when you consider why you're here, right, guys? All right, I get the point. All right, we're going full Jason mode here. So when you go full Jason mode, step 1 is to pick a figure that is not the obvious choice. Now, the obvious choice in this format, as we said, is Cable or Batman Beyond. Both of them are very safe choices, and they're both very strong figures. So I'm not going to use them. But I do have to be aware of their existence. I just want to see how the straw poll is going. All right, cool. Yeah, nothing changed. So on that note, we have to consider what our starting point is going to be, or if I want to just kind of challenge what I want to challenge myself with. Now, part of me wants to go Fast Force Shredder for some stupid reason. The TMNT4 Shredder. Because, oh no, that's not the one. Okay, you know what? I don't want to do that one. That one's not as fun as I thought it was. For some reason, I thought that Shredder was the one that brought the Shredder clone, and I'd be like, haha, broke the format. I guess not. Okay, you know what? I know what I want to start with. I know exactly what I want to start with. And you'd be kidding yourself if you knew me and said anything otherwise, because this is the format where one man does get to play, and it's been a while since I've had a chance to use this dude. I'm building up to nothing, guys. I'm sorry. I'm really just vamping so that I can find him. I also just want to keep the commons only kind of running. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Avengers Defenders War, Jason. Come on, get your life together. Let's go with the Fast Force one. Nope, that's here he is. All right, here we go. Here's our starting point. Our starting point is gonna be Iron Fist. Ignores hindering and ignores characters for movement. He has the charge to start, 12 attack, 18 defense with combat reflexes, 3 damage with close combat expert. And when he clears action tokens, you can heal him of 1 click. So Fast Force Iron Man, Iron Fist is where we're going to start. Fast Force Loki is also another one, kind of like the other 2 that we said, who might really be a pain in the butt. Athena is a very good option. She's definitely not one that should be overlooked for sure. All right, so Iron Fist. What are we going to do? We could do martial artist or mystical type theme. Honestly, I think theme is less important for this one, to be brutally honest. I don't think any maps kind of own or don't own the format. What's Deadpool got that might work? This is another close combat based character. I think step one is to get Iron Fist to the opponent. Am I wrong? All right. So in that case, getting Iron Fist to the opponent would require either a flyer or a super carrier. Now, I mean, there is this. We could go with the super carry. And I think the superest of super carries we can go with, because I think I know the direction I want to go already, and we're going non-theme for this. So I've made the decision. Let's go with this Green Lantern. Because he's got this really cool on a 5, one character that he carried can take an action. And then on the 6, 2 carried characters can take an action. And why not lead in with a big old attack from Iron Fist? I mean, I think that would be pretty neat. Or even cooler is if you can get the Iron Fist right next to him, roll the 5 or 6, and be able to make a close combat expert attack on them. That would be, woof. That would be super cool. That might be hoping for too much. So let's go with a bit of a bubble, shall we? Now, what else can we do with a bubble that we kind of want to go really strong on? I kind of clicked on Paul Kirk just to remind myself what he looked like. He's cool, but I don't think he's part of the bubble that we want to create here. I almost think we want a dude who poisons at this low point value. Do we have somebody who, I mean, okay, she's got poison and protected poison, so duh, Jason. And she's also got perplex. So let's leave her under consideration. We got this Batgirl from the Fast Forces from Harley Quinn. Do I even have that? I don't know. Do we have the Harley Quinn Fast Forces?
I don't.
Amber doesn't know. Amber doesn't have any idea what's going on. Catman, there we go. All right, so we're going to add Catman. Now, because Catman is a Secret 6 character, I've got a goal now. I've got to get 6 characters on my team. Or yeah, I got to get 6 characters on my team. Let's not get ourselves. Can I get that in double? I mean, it might almost be worth 2 Catmans. Because now we're at 4 characters. We have to fill up 2 more spaces. And Green Lantern can carry 8. He'll be losing 3 movement, but whatever. We could go for some passive increases from here, or we could go for some straight up perplexed flexible increases. I feel like this Harley Quinn is the one. Nope, that's not the one. I believe it's Joker's Wild one. Now that I'm actually putting some thought into it, I believe Joker was Wild Harley Quinn. 25 points with perplex. Can we go cheaper with perplex in the format though? With just commons, what has perplex that's lower than 25 points? Yeah. I would say probably not. No. There is somebody with perplex. She just doesn't start with it. So this might actually slow down the team a little uncomfortably. But that is Betty Brant. She's got on her second click. She's 15 points. She's less. Problem is, like I said, she is that. She's that dial. That's what she is. Big Tony is, thank you, Mr. Graves. Let's see what Big Tony looks like, because I think he's actually cheaper than Harley Quinn. It might actually be more useful. Big Tony. It's 15 points. There we go. 15 points in his underworld. So we can actually throw 2 of him on. And that puts us at 6. So actually, I only want 1 Big Tony. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. So now we still have room to stick something next to the Green Lantern and have a 6 figure, and we have 55 points with which to work. Let's see. What do we have that I want as part of this? Oh man, Batman! I wish I was smart enough. Let's see. Can use perplex. Unique modifier. Can use perplex. Target all friendly characters in 4 squares. Line of fire. Choosing the same team. Oh man! Hold the phone. Okay, here's my thinking. We have Batman next to everybody perplexes up a stat. Am I right? Am I right? All right. And then we have room for something that is trouble. And that is the trouble with tribbles. So by adding a tribble, okay, so thought process for those of you who might not be quite catching on where I'm going here. Big Tony's cool, and he's got his perplex, and he's cheaper than Harley Quinn. But Batman is pretty strong, and he's got a really cool perplex that can boast the entire team. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dudes. If we add a tribble, I've gone way past it. Where does Star Trek go? Am I missing this somehow? There it is, tribble. We add a tribble. There's 5 points left over. I don't think I would spend it, to be brutally honest. But then the tribble helps us maintain our 6-character factor that we need, right? And another element worth mentioning is that Catman's and Batman's will all have stealth because Batman's got the Batman ally team ability. Catman's will have +1 stats as well as stealth, as well as ignore hindering terrain for movement, +1 to all their combat values. Iron Fist is just a part of this. He's just along for the ride, man. It's very close to a martial artist theme team. Well, not Batman. Batman and Green Lantern and the tribbles will all break it, so not a big deal. I almost want prop. You know what, though? I think the stats are high enough and really big enough, and this team is super aggressive enough with the potential that it has. I almost just don't care, and I would run this. This is something I would give a try in an all common format. I like it. I like this a lot. I like little close combat bubbles that can go forward, and the Green Lantern with the ability to allow actions after the fact. If I can pull that off, like there's a 33% chance that you created a 1 or 2 Sam caps in an all common format. That's busted. So there, and stuff like that. Like let's spend a little bit on as part of the advocacy for the all common format, and because Happy Little Heroclix is as excited about it as I am. I think on every episode we'll have a little bit of fun with this because I'm a crazy person and like to do crazy things, and I want to show people the ridiculous things you can pull off in this format, right? Yep. Fat Tony. Anyway, so we'll do a little bit of this. This is some cool stuff. This is where we are. Honestly, Happy Little Heroclix, I don't want to get into Roll20 stuff just yet on my thing because I'm not into it yet. I'm not on it yet, and I can't. This show already is off the grid for scheduling. I have no way of knowing. I want to do an episode tomorrow. I'm going to say I'm going to do an episode tomorrow, but if I find out I can't do the episode tomorrow, all of a sudden it's going to be hey, I'm going to move this. And I need that kind of fluidity as my schedule. And I don't want to kind of let you down at the other end of things. So, and honestly, I feel like there's better value in actually seeing the figures on the map. That's why Amber and I used to actually record games back in the day when we could do that. Amber now just refuses to play against me these days, and I can't get any time under camera or on the table with her as it is.
Just never had the time.
We don't have the time. I know. We just
don't make this seem like I'm the bad person here.
She's the bad person in all of this. It's you know what? The big negative on her is she needs sleep. What kind of sucker needs sleep? She's giving me this big smile, yeah, sleep. I need sleep. Yeah, so we're gonna call it today. That's your entrance into my mind of madness for today. Appreciate all this got a lot of noise. I was really excited to run it. I got to build, my team for Saturday, and I got to build a Pauper team and explain the Pauper format and explain how I feel the Pauper format should run. Anybody interested in running the event, I do want to kind of set a unified set of rules for it. And anybody looking to run it, feel free to ask me any questions you have for it. Use our email, marriedwithclicks@gmail.com, or in the comments of this video. We tend to catch those. Or, message us on our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/marriedwithclicks. Like, there's a lot of ways you can get in touch with us in order to, I would love a unified version of this. I'm going to create a document for it one day when that kind of time exists for me. Maybe just in place of an episode, sorry guys, I'm writing a document, and just do it there. But one way or another, this will become a thing. I will post it around the world, just so that everybody kind of has the one thing for it. I will open it up for agreement before I actually kind of say this is the final version of the format. I do kind of want to end off on one note that is something that we as a Heroclix community have to kind of address in our interactions regarding the game. And that is, not everything that's strong has to be dude, I'm doing enough damage with this team. Did you see that team? Not everything that's strong has to be nerfed. It just has to have an answer, or you have to know how to deal with it. Just because something is strong doesn't mean it immediately needs to be banned. This is unfortunately in Standard and Magic, they've gotten a little bit wacky and happy with their bans, and a lot of players are starting to realize, just look at Kaladesh in the ban list and the relationship between the two, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. But when you look at this format, a lot of people go, well, Cable and Batman Beyond are going to ruin the format. They really aren't. They're just going to be really strong in the format, and you have to work around it. I feel like the team I made would be problematic for those guys and whatever. So, and another note for you, LeBron. This guy's username is LeBron James, so I feel as though I'm talking to LeBron James. It is Jason Collins and LeBron James talking to each other, which, for those of you who really know basketball, really know basketball, you know who Jason Collins is. Anyway, Batman's can modify damage just only on one guy. I can increase attacks and movement and stuff like that on everybody else. And the team itself, with Catman getting +1 to all his stats, in addition to having blades as part of his attack, I think by +1ing attack on all my dudes is enough to have a 12 attack Catmans on the right die roll coming at somebody after being carried by a Green Lantern. That, I think, is pretty cool, all things considered. Also coming out of, so. But the 4 big Tonys ruin the Catman. Anyway, so that's been this episode. I want to thank everybody in the chat who's been kind enough to join me. And I do look forward to possibly tomorrow, possibly the day after tomorrow's episode, where we will continue with the madness as we continue our planning for future tournaments, and just kind of go off on what I do in regards to the game of Heroclix. And we'll spend a little time on the all-common format and come up with another build. Why not? And with that said, have a good one. And thank you for indulging me in my madness.